My friends, today I want to talk to you about something that many people overlook in their lives, the power of privacy and the peace it brings. We live in a world where everyone is encouraged to share everything, what they eat, where they go, who they meet, what they plan, and even their struggles. But let me tell you, not everything is meant to be shared. Not every thought, not every success, not every dream should be placed in the hands of the world. Many of us invite unnecessary stress because we let too many voices into our lives. We allow opinions, judgments, and criticism to shape our happiness. But the more people you let in, the more noise you will hear. And let me tell you something, where there is noise, there is no peace. In today's world, people are encouraged to share every aspect of their lives. Social media has made it so easy to post thoughts, plans, successes, and even struggles for the world to see. But not everything should be shared. There is great wisdom in keeping certain things private. When we expose too much of our lives to the public, we invite unnecessary stress, judgment, and interference from others who may not have our best interests at heart. Privacy is not about hiding, it is about protecting what is valuable. When we constantly share our dreams, goals, and personal matters, we unknowingly give others the opportunity to influence us, whether positively or negatively. Some may encourage us, but others may plant seeds of doubt. Words have power. A single negative comment can shake our confidence, delay our progress, or even make us second-guess the path we are on. When we keep things to ourselves, we allow our dreams to grow without interference. There is strength in silence. Plans that are nurtured privately often have a higher chance of success because they are shielded from unnecessary criticism and discouragement. Another reason to be mindful of what we share is that not everyone who listens to us has good intentions. Some people pretend to be well-wishers, but deep inside they may feel envy or resentment. When we openly discuss our blessings, we may unintentionally attract negative energy. There are those who wait for an opportunity to take advantage of our openness, using our own words against us. The less others know about our personal affairs, the less control they have over our emotions and decisions. A private life is a peaceful life because it is free from the influence of unnecessary opinions. Furthermore, sharing struggles and weaknesses with the wrong people can be dangerous. While it is important to seek help and advice when needed, it is equally important to be selective about who we confide in. Not everyone can handle our pain with care. Some may use our vulnerabilities to manipulate or betray us. True support comes from those who genuinely care, not from a crowd of listeners who simply want to be entertained by our troubles. Keeping personal struggles private allows us to work through them with dignity, seeking guidance from trusted individuals rather than exposing ourselves to public scrutiny. Another important aspect of privacy is protecting our future. Many people announce their plans before they have even started working on them. While excitement can make us eager to share, premature exposure can sometimes lead to failure. Plans that are constantly talked about but not acted upon lose their momentum. Additionally, when others know too much about our goals, they may either discourage us or create obstacles. Working quietly and revealing progress only when necessary keeps us focused and motivated. A strong foundation is built away from distractions, allowing our efforts to flourish without external pressure. Ultimately, maintaining privacy is a way of maintaining control over our lives. It is a way of ensuring that our happiness, success, and peace remain in our own hands rather than being dependent on the approval or validation of others. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that values noise, constant conversation, and public expression. Many people believe that speaking up, making their presence known, and sharing every thought is a sign of strength. However, silence holds a power that words often fail to capture. It is in silence that great wisdom is found, that real strength is cultivated, and that true understanding takes root. Those who master the art of silence gain control over their emotions, actions, and the energy they allow into their lives. In moments of silence, people develop clarity. When the mind is free from distractions and external noise, thoughts become clearer and decisions become easier to make. Many mistakes in life come from speaking too quickly, reacting without thinking, or allowing emotions to dictate responses. But those who embrace silence learn to pause before responding. They understand that not every situation requires an immediate reaction, and that wisdom often comes from observation rather than impulsive speech. When people listen more than they speak, they gain insight into situations, understand others better, and avoid unnecessary conflicts. Silence also brings inner peace. In a world filled with endless chatter, opinions, and information overload, the ability to step away and find quietness is invaluable. Many people struggle with stress and anxiety because they are constantly surrounded by noise, whether from the media, social interactions, or their own restless thoughts. Silence allows the mind to reset, to breathe, and to find stillness. It is in these quiet moments that people connect with themselves on a deeper level, gaining a sense of calm that cannot be found in constant movement or conversation. Another remarkable power of silence is its ability to communicate strength. People who remain silent in the face of negativity, criticism, or provocation demonstrate immense self-control. It takes great discipline to hold back words when anger, frustration, or ego pushes one to speak. Many arguments, misunderstandings, and damaged relationships could be avoided if more people understood the value of staying silent when words are not necessary. Silence can disarm those who seek to provoke, frustrate those who seek a reaction, and command respect from those who recognize its strength. Silence is also a tool for personal growth. The most successful individuals in history have understood the importance of working quietly, planning without announcing, and achieving without unnecessary attention. When people share too much about their goals and ambitions, they invite unnecessary interference. But when they move in silence, their actions speak louder than words. Success built in silence is strong because it is not dependent on external validation. The quiet worker often achieves more than the loud dreamer. There is a time for speaking, but there is also a time for silence. When used wisely, silence becomes a source of wisdom, peace, and resilience. It allows people to observe more, listen better, and navigate life with greater understanding. Those who embrace silence learn to control their words rather than be controlled by them, finding strength and restraint and power in quiet reflection. In today's world, people are constantly surrounded by voices from the media, social networks, friends, family, and even strangers. Everywhere we turn, there is someone sharing their opinion, giving advice, or influencing how we think and feel, while guidance and support from the right people can be beneficial. Too many voices can create confusion, doubt, and unnecessary stress. When people allow too many opinions into their lives, they risk losing their own sense of direction and inner peace. A peaceful mind is a focused mind, but when there are too many voices competing for attention, focus is lost. People begin to question themselves, overthink decisions, and struggle to find clarity. Someone may have a dream or a goal, but the moment they start sharing it with everyone, they receive a flood of opinions, some encouraging, others discouraging. One person might say it's a great idea, while another might point out its flaws. Soon, doubt creeps in, and what was once a clear path becomes clouded by the noise of external influence. This is why it is important to be selective about whose voices we allow into our minds. Not every opinion matters, and not every person has the wisdom to guide us correctly. Too many voices also create unnecessary stress. When people constantly seek validation from others, they place their peace in the hands of external opinions. They start living their lives based on what others think rather than what truly matters to them. A person may feel happy with their choices, but the moment they hear someone criticize them or question their decisions, they begin to feel uneasy. Instead of being confident in their path, they start doubting whether they are making the right moves. This type of mental exhaustion comes from trying to please too many people and listening to too many conflicting voices. True peace comes when people learn to silence the outside noise and trust their own judgment. Another danger of too many voices is that they can create unnecessary conflicts. When people listen to too many opinions, they are more likely to be influenced by negativity, gossip, or misleading information. Someone might say something about a friend, a relationship, or a job that plants a seed of doubt in the mind. Without realizing it, people allow the thoughts of others to shape their emotions and decisions. Instead of trusting their own experiences, they react based on what they have been told. This can lead to misunderstandings, broken relationships, and unnecessary problems that could have been avoided by simply blocking out the noise. Inner peace comes from having control over one's thoughts and emotions. When people reduce the number of voices they listen to, they gain clarity, confidence, and a sense of calm. Not every opinion deserves attention, and not every voice deserves a response. The key to peace is learning to filter out the noise, focus on what truly matters, and trust in one's own ability to make the right choices. In life, people often assume that those around them genuinely want the best for them. They believe that friends, relatives, and colleagues are all rooting for their success. However, the truth is that not everyone around them supports them, and not every smile is sincere. Some people hide jealousy behind kind words, and others pretend to be well-wishers while secretly hoping for failure. Understanding this reality is crucial to protecting one's dreams, peace, and progress. One of the most dangerous mistakes people make is assuming that everyone who listens to them cares about them. Some individuals only want to know details about someone's life so they can compare, compete, or even sabotage their journey. A person may think they are sharing their achievements with a friend, but in reality, that friend might feel envious or threatened. They might not openly express their resentment, but their actions may reflect it. They may discourage, criticize, or subtly plant doubts to shake confidence. This is why it is important to be mindful of who is allowed access to personal goals and dreams. Another challenge is that some people pretend to celebrate others, but secretly dislike seeing them progress. They might smile and congratulate someone on their success, but deep inside they wish they were in that position instead. Some may even go to the extent of trying to create obstacles, spreading negativity, or influencing others to think less of that person. This is why not every piece of advice should be taken seriously, and not every compliment should be trusted. True supporters are rarer, and their sincerity is proven through consistent encouragement, not just in moments of success, but also in times of struggle. There are also those who do not necessarily wish harm on others, but still do not support them. They may not be directly negative, but they are indifferent to their progress. They may not celebrate achievements, show interest in goals, or offer encouragement. Sometimes their lack of support is not due to ill intentions, but rather their own insecurities, distractions, or personal struggles. However, relying on such people for motivation can be disappointing. Expecting them to cheer, help, or guide can lead to frustration. Instead of waiting for support from others, it is better to build self-confidence and keep moving forward regardless of who is watching. It is also important to remember that not all relationships are meant to be lifelong sources of encouragement. Some people are only present during certain phases of life and will naturally drift away when their interests change. This is why dependency on external support is dangerous. If someone's belief in themselves is based on the approval of others, they will struggle the moment that approval disappears. True success comes from within, from having faith in one's abilities, and from trusting that the right people will stay, while the wrong ones will eventually fade away. Understanding that not everyone supports you does not mean becoming suspicious of everyone, but it does mean being wise about who to trust. When people realize that support is not always guaranteed, they stop seeking validation from the wrong places and focus on building their own strength. True peace is something many people spend their lives searching for, yet they often look in the wrong places. They seek it in approval from others, in recognition and wealth, or in social status. They believe that if they can just earn enough praise, gather enough followers, or impress the right people, they will feel content. But external validation is temporary, unpredictable, and unreliable. It is a shifting foundation that can never bring lasting peace. True peace does not come from how others see a person. It comes from within, from a heart that is secure, a mind that is clear, and a soul that is content. When people base their peace on the opinions of others, they become prisoners of those opinions. If people praise them, they feel happy. If people criticize them, they feel broken. They constantly seek approval, fearing rejection and judgment. Their self-worth depends on how many people admire them, agree with them, or support them. But the problem with this approach is that people's opinions change. Today they may applaud, tomorrow they may condemn. A person who chases validation will always be chasing, never satisfied, never at rest. Peace cannot exist in a mind that is always anxious about what others think. A person who has true inner peace does not need external validation to feel worthy. They know their value regardless of whether the world acknowledges it. They are content with their journey, whether or not others recognize their progress. They do not feel the need to prove themselves to everyone because they are secure in who they are. This kind of peace is powerful because it cannot be taken away by criticism, rejection, or indifference. It is not dependent on external circumstances, but is rooted deep within. Seeking external validation often leads to exhaustion and disappointment. People who constantly try to please others end up losing themselves in the process. They may change their personality, compromise their values, or suppress their true desires just to gain acceptance. But no matter how much they do, there will always be someone who disapproves. There will always be voices telling them they are not enough, that they should be different, that they should do more. If their peace depends on satisfying others, they will never find rest. True peace comes when a person stops looking outward for confirmation and starts looking inward for contentment. It comes from self-acceptance, from embracing one's strengths and weaknesses without the need for constant approval. It comes from trusting one's own journey, making decisions based on what is right rather than what is popular. It comes from realizing that happiness is not found in applause, but in a quiet heart that is free from the burden of seeking validation. Those who find peace within themselves are unshaken by the opinions of others. They do not live for approval, nor do they fear criticism. They walk their path with confidence, knowing that true fulfillment does not come from the outside world, but from the calmness, clarity, and contentment that live within. Peace is one of the most valuable things a person can have, yet it is also one of the easiest to lose. Many people struggle with stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion because they allow too much negativity into their lives. They expose their hearts to unnecessary pain and their minds to constant noise, forgetting that not everything deserves their attention. Protecting one's peace requires guarding both the heart and mind, being mindful of what is allowed and ensuring that external and external influences do not disrupt inner stability. The heart is delicate and easily affected by emotions, relationships, and experiences. When people open their hearts to the wrong influences, they invite unnecessary pain. Some relationships bring peace, while others drain energy and create chaos. Not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of one's heart. Trust should be given wisely, and emotions should not be placed in the hands of those who do not handle them with care. People who gossip, manipulate, or bring constant negativity should not have the power to disturb one's inner peace. Walking away from toxic relationships and setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary for emotional well-being. Similarly, the mind protecting your peace starts with valuing your privacy. Not everything needs to be shared, and not everyone needs to know your plans, struggles, or successes. When you keep certain aspects of your life private, you shield yourself from unnecessary opinions, distractions, and negativity. True peace comes from within, and it flourishes when you control what you allow into your mind and heart. Move in silence, focus on your growth, and let your progress speak for itself. In the end, a quiet and peaceful life is far more valuable than external validation.